Welcome to the Give It a Nudge podcast. Thanks for joining us. Each week, you're going to hear stories from founders, VCs, and private equity leaders from across the industry. We hope that these stories are going to give you insights to help you on your journey, and we'd love you to be part of our community. So please hit that subscribe button, and let's get on with the show. Welcome to the Give It a Nudge show. Now today, very, very special episode for a couple of reasons. One, she's a great friend. Two, she helped us as a business with our strategy. And three, she is now the only person to have ever been on Give It a Nudge 3 times, other than myself, obviously. So I'd like to welcome and introduce you to Stephanie King.
Thanks, Steve.
Steph, how are you?
I'm so well. Thanks for having me.
And you're here on your own today.
I am.
No, Ali?
Solo. Flying
So Ali's working offshore or something, I believe?
She is. She's in Bali.
Does that sound like working?
She is working. It's called making the business work for you. No, I'm going to meet her very soon.
Okay. Oh, you're heading over too?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
We can talk to that.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
But today you are here for a very special reason, because for the very first time we are becoming your provider and you are becoming our client. And we wanted to talk a little bit about your company and the update, because we've got other episodes around the show. What I want to go into now, your business is completely changed.
Yeah.
And can I say, I've been very impressed because you've changed a model, not just quickly, but incredibly successfully, into a really well-run recurring revenue model that you were struggling with at the beginning. And we used to talk about the strategy as we used to share an office.
Yes.
So I think it's time we shared that with the world.
Yay.
So why don't you, just for anyone who hasn't seen the other episode, give a quick introduction of yourself and ASK and what you guys do.
Beautiful. So Stephanie King, I'm one of the co-founders of Ask Marketing. Ask Marketing provide B2B and service-based businesses primarily to do 3 things, and that's build demand, establish thought leadership, and own their industry. And we do that through 2 ways, and it used to be just one way.
Yep.
The first is developing a decisive digital marketing strategy.
Yep.
And that's what we did for the Nudge Group. And that was our core business offering.
And it worked.
Yes, yeah, and it still does. It still does. It's very much our core offering to this day. But now we've been able to layer on, as you said, a recurring revenue model. That was a big focus of ours last year, and launched now what we can proudly say is an executional arm to our business, and that is a managed marketing service.
Which I think is awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's, before you go into it, why did you do that? What was the reason?
Multiple things. As you can appreciate, scalability of a project-based business, challenges with that.
Absolutely.
Also, we were working with such epic clients, and we'd essentially get to the end of our strategy project. That was, 4 to 8 weeks, and then almost say goodbye to them. And we'd be here on a, consultancy basis when needed. But they ended up coming back saying, we actually want you ongoing, but we weren't, staffed to be able to support that.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting for us.
It is. And you may remember, I think the first question I asked you was, can you execute? And you said no. And yeah. I think you remember my face drop. Anyway, we've wound our way through. So now you're executing. So, okay, so we're now beginning of 2023. You made this decision early 2022. Yeah. How have you done that? How did you do that? Because I think a lot of people, and this is more just for the general audience, but everyone wants recurring revenue. Everyone's looking, saying, I've got this model, but I'm starting from scratch, or I feel like I'm always battling against it. I want recurring revenue, but I'm a service-based business. Yeah. You've done that, you've achieved it, you've done it in an incredibly short space of time. How did you do it? How did you, before you go into what you actually do, how did you come up with the idea, and what was the process you went through as founders? Yeah,
I think it was a very native evolution, probably over the last 2 years. And it got to kind of a head mid last year where we were really looking at the market and we were seeing what was going on in other industries. And in the finance space in particular, it's quite an established space that they're providing a managed service. And we thought, we really, did some core research and understood why is that working and why can't that work in the marketing space. Yep. Because it's very new to the marketing industry to have a service like this. And so I think that combined with what was going on in the landscape all of last year, and that was that, marketing teams and marketing employees, salaries are increasing massively. Rapidly. You can talk to that,
massively.
15%, I think, just last year was
30.
30.
30%
Okay.
last year. They've come off, but that's what they went the peak.
Well, I mean, that's insane. And then pair that with as well, there's, recent research around marketing and sales roles being the most hardest to find, but also the hardest to retain. And so the clients that we were working with on their strategy projects then were trying to, hire internal teams to be able to execute.
And you were helping them hire at some stage, weren't you?
We absolutely were, yeah. We were supporting them from quite a consultancy perspective to know what they actually needed as marketers, understand deeply their strategy, and then be able to recommend the type of marketer to execute that. And so it honestly, though, the turnaround time between when we said, let's go, to when we essentially set up the systems internally in our business was very rapid. And so launched it, we don't do anything half-heartedly, launched it, I think it was about July, August last year, if not September.
Yep.
And it's evolved
which is
greatly
essentially
since then.
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And so where are you now? So when you sort of came to this conclusion, so if you go back to before you decided, was it just the two of you then, or it was really, wasn't it? Yeah. And so where's the team? What does the team look now? What does the company look like?
So essentially back in the strategy phase, it wasn't Ali and I, there was 4 of us. So we had essentially a team of strategists who were supporting that strategy arm of the business. And since then we've grown to 7 people. We have essentially now, we always were a global team. So we have always had, our marketer is in Brisbane, we have one in France, one of our leading strategists. And so what we've now been able to do is layer on an additional global presence through hiring senior marketers in the Philippines to work with our senior local marketers in Australia to essentially act as a marketing team for our clients ongoing.
And hang out in Bali.
Yeah.
By all accounts.
Yeah. Next week.
Okay, so the 7 is next week. Is it next week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I leave on Sunday.
Wow.
Yay.
All right. So 7 of you. What's the plan? Where are you going? And what was the reaction like from your current clients when you said, hey, we're going to do this? What was it like?
Oh, that first question was really exciting. So as a kind of testing the waters approach, initially we went out to all of our existing clients and we got really great feedback, of which some took up the offer straight away.
Yep. That must have been a real validation, I guess.
It was amazing. And I mean, we'd been having these conversations prior to almost validate before the offer was in existence, naturally.
Yep.
And so that was really exciting. Others weren't quite ready for whatever reason, but very much still in conversations to tackle that, this year.
So still, even though you'd asked before, there's a big difference between asking someone if they think it's a great idea and then asking them to pay for it.
Exactly.
So what's the plan? What is it? I mean, look at what happened in the last year. You completely changed. Well, you doubled your model, you doubled your staff.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? What's the plan for this year, other than overseas trips? Stop mentioning that. What's the next thing for it? Is it really just to scale this? Is it international? Is it other services? Where are you at?
Yeah, I think the vision for this year is really just to finesse what we're currently doing. So we've always been of the approach where we want to do things really, really well.
Yep.
We've always been really proud of the quality service that we provide. And so we're very mindful of scaling too quickly. We're taking very, very valid feedback at the moment from all of our clients around our current service to then input that into a more, continuously improving that moving into this year. So whilst I think the focus is continuing to grow, it's growing steadily and it's growing smartly because we, always want to be a premium service provider.
Okay, I got a question for you, because I think something that a lot of people don't think about is when you get staff, and inevitably your role changes.
Yeah.
So before you went into this model, how did you and Ali break up because you do different things, right?
Yeah, very. Yeah, so Ali's very much in sales and business development, and her role is essentially growth of the business.
Yep.
And then I'm in charge of client relationships and client management. So I was essentially doing all the work with our strategy team to develop strategies for our clients. And so, yeah, you're exactly right.
What's happening now?
Similarly, I'm essentially now managing a team of marketers.
Yes.
And we had big discussions about that before we went down this path, because I put up my hand and said I actually really love managing people.
Okay.
Which
Still?
Yeah.
That's good.
With the right people, I think we've been incredibly picky with who we've been able to bring on board, and that has been pivotal to our growth and my enjoyment in the role itself. Yes, it comes with challenges. Yes, 50% of my day now is managing people rather than necessarily working on the business, and that's just the case with any kind of.
And you've managed to keep that separate, right? Because I often see this, and it's happened to me in one of my businesses. When you have two founders, sometimes the lines can get blurred, and that sends staff crazy, right? They get very confused, they get slightly conflicting answers, they don't know who to ask, all that kind of stuff. You've managed to keep that, because you're sisters, right? So that helps.
I think that's been everything, because we have been able to completely divide and conquer. Our roles are very distinct. We rely on the other person for that specific role and vice versa, and there's no overlap. And I think because we do have such contrasting skill sets and we are so aligned as sisters, has been everything. And the team see that as well, which is beautiful.
And do you think, I mean, I've had this conversation with a lot of different founders. Family businesses have a kind of reputation. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this family business. To me, a family business is more of a generational business, right? Where you've got a lot of people, potentially not always the right people in roles that perhaps they shouldn't be doing. But I have seen a commonality in sibling businesses, whether it be brothers and sisters, whatever it be, that there's actually not less arguments or less conflict or less anything, but there's so much more honesty because you're sisters, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that there's literally nothing that you guys won't be able to push through because you've pushed through all the things so far with your lives?
Massively. I think day to day, the conversations that we have ad hoc just throughout the day about huge business decisions always come back to why, and are we happy as human beings? Are we happy with our relationship? Are we happy with where the business is going? And I think we had a very strong relationship prior to going into business.
Yep.
We always wanted to go into business together. Whatever the future holds for us as business owners, that will be at the forefront, you know. So we're very lucky, and I don't take that for granted for a second, because so many people ask me, how is it being in business with your sister? As though they're treading on eggshells.
Well, they might have a bad sister.
Respond. Well, perhaps. I'm lucky. We're really lucky.
That's great. Okay, so if we think about the business, it's gone through this complete sort of change and, well, not change, and evolution really, and growth. How do you think, actually I'll ask you this in two parts. Working at ASK right now, how would you describe it, and how do you think whoever your latest employee would describe it? And I'm hoping that there'll be some difference at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'd describe it as very much a dynamic, agile business that honestly excels at a premium service for our clients. And everything that we do with a client is transparent. You know, feedback that we get from our clients, we take on board and have very honest, open conversations to better improve our service.
Yep.
And that's been clear and evident in feedback that we've gotten from everyone, and been able to develop such strong relationships. Team culture as well, from if I'm describing the business, it has been amazing. And I think we've prioritised that. Seeing the market and seeing how quickly people can leave a role and just go to another one has been of utmost importance. So I'm really proud of that in the last 6 months that we've developed, and we will continue to develop.
Yep.
And then your second question about how would a staff member or a team member see Ask Marketing, I hope, and you know, I ask this all the time to our team. We have happiness sessions, we call them. And so I ask them.
What happens in a happiness session?
Honestly, we talk about life, we talk about goals, we talk about professional and personal life and evolution of where our team want to go.
Okay, so it's almost like a personal development on both sides. Yeah. I like the word happiness. It's a good choice.
Well, I asked them, and you know, the feedback to this point has been that they feel incredibly supported, incredibly empowered to do their job, and have autonomy to do their role and create. You know, we have systems in place based on what we've developed, but we are so supportive and open for them to come proactively and optimise things as they see fit. And so that's been incredibly powerful for them.
And I'm sure, I mean, the one thing I've learned is that when your staff feel like that, your clients feel like that, because it just sort of flows through, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, well done. It's great to get an update. It's lovely to see you again.
Likewise.
And yeah, I mean, will you be the first person to come on 4 times? Will you be in Bali and Ali will be here? Who knows, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll be in Bali with the team.
Maybe we'll do it the next episode in Bali. How
Please.
about that? That sounds like...
Next week, we are working in Bali.
No, I can't. But thank you so much for coming. It really is good to have an update, and I look forward to see what continues to happen with ASK.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.